Hi, everybody. So, for this assignment, we were asked to choose either scenario one or scenario two again. And for this assignment, I chose to do scenario one, which was the one with the 90-year-old widow or widower. And they have come to make plans alone for their spouse's funeral. The customer tells you that they want the service to be similar to their sister's that your funeral home did 5 years ago. And then you know that the funeral home has records and can easily pull that information as to the service that was done at that time. So, if someone was coming to my funeral home to make arrangements for their spouse, I would first greet them at the door and, welcome them again, reintroduce myself, such as, hi, Heinz. My name is Hillary. Thank you again for choosing XYZ Funeral Home to help you during this difficult time and help set up these arrangements for your wife, Irma. I would then bring them into the arrangement room and we could sit down and kind of discuss what they would like or what he would like to do for his spouse. At that time, he may tell you that he wanted to do something similar to her sister's service that your funeral home did 5 years ago. So if that was the case, I would say, Heinz, I do have Selena's records from her funeral that we did back in 2015. If you just give me 1 second, let me pull those up on my iPad here. Then we can kind of go over the price list and see if some prices have changed and what her arrangements actually were. I would pull them up on my iPad here for the arrangements. And I would say, okay, Heinz, it looks like for Irma's sister Selena, they did a viewing with a rental casket and then they did cremation afterwards. Is that something that you were thinking about doing, or did you kind of have a different idea of how you would like Irma's services to go? If he says yes, you could say, all right, we could do the embalming with the viewing and then have a visitation prior to the funeral service. And then after the funeral service, we would just bring the casket back to the funeral home instead of going to the graveside for burial, and we would cremate and bury at a later date. Is that something that you're interested in? Yes or no, again, depending on the conversation. And at that time, I would also ask, do you have any questions? Do you have any concerns? Do you have any ideas for Irma's service versus the one that we did for Selena? You could then kind of go over the general price list of things and, maybe tell them, I understand that we did Selena's service 5 years ago. Our prices have increased a little bit since then, and we can kind of go over those at this time. So for our basic service fee, uh, we charge $2,950. The embalming itself is $900. Other preparation of the body and use of the facilities and staff is $295, and the visitation for or the viewing and the visitation is is $495. So your total would be $5,640 just for that portion. The use of staff and equipment is going to be $550, and the transfer of the remains to the funeral home are going to be $450. The viewing itself is $1,495, and then when we did Selena's service, she chose the mahogany wood grain urn. Is that something that you would like to purchase also, or would you like to select a different urn from our selection book here? For this instance, let's just say he wanted to go with the mahogany wood grain. Fine. So right now, the mahogany wood grain urn is running about $530, which would bring that total to $2,275. And then we go over to our cash advance items. We have $164.94 for sales tax. And then depending on the copies of the death certificates you would like, it's $7 a piece, or if you get them at a later date, it is $20 per piece. Let's just say, for instance, we go with, I don't know, 13. So death certificates are going to be $104. The cleargy is $150, and then it's $75 to the hairdresser and $75 for the music. And then the newspaper notice, we'll put it in the local scoop and the newspaper, and that's $100. We then do have a cremation fee, since you do want Irma to be cremated after the service. That's $250, and then an additional coroner's permit, which is $50, for a total of $968.94. So altogether, your grand total is going to be $8,883.94. Do you have any questions about any of this, or does this all sound okay to you and something that you want to move forward with? We're going to say that Heinz says yes. I would then ask him to sign, and then have him sign the cremation permit, since we're going to say he already gave me verbal information that I could embalm Irma over the phone when I picked her up and brought her back to the funeral home. I do think that you should tell the spouse that's coming in to make the arrangements that, prices may have increased, products may have changed in the last 5 years. You can't guarantee that it could, it may possibly be the same as what her sister had, or it may not possibly be the same. Things change, styles change, traditions change, and not everybody is as receptive to that as maybe they should be. But I guess that's how I would handle the situation and kind of go from there. I would then tell him, in the meantime, if he has any questions or concerns, please feel free to give the funeral home a call, or I would give him my personal cell phone and tell him to give me a call at any time with any questions or concerns he may have regarding the service of his wife. Thank you.